Hello, boys and girls. Today we're going to read what's called an expository text that describes bats. So we are going to learn all kinds of facts about bats in this book. So before we read this story about bats, and you see this really cool picture of bats, I want to build on your prior knowledge. So I want you to think and be ready to share, what do you know about bats? Oh good, I see people sharing with their partner. I heard that bats live at night. I heard that bats like to fly in the sky. I've heard that you've seen bats in movies. Very good, well let's see if we can learn more information about bats in our expository text here. So one of the things we've been learning about in our concept of prints, that there's the front cover of the book, the back cover. Here's our title page titled Bats here by Elizabeth Carney. And then we're not going to read this whole book. We are going to read parts of our book, and this is another part of concept of print. We're going to read here in the table of contents, the parts I'm going to read is what is a bat, and it tells me what page it starts on, page 4. A section called Night Flight and Bat Bodies. I bet that part is going to be interesting. So let's go here. I have some Post-its on here to help me. This says read first, to tell me or to remind me which parts to read in the book. So I'm going to read through this first page here, and it says, what's a bat? Oh, and it looks like it starts with a riddle, like a little mystery to see if you can figure this out. It says, I sleep by day, I fly by night, I have no feathers to aid my flight. What am I? And we already know, and you can guess just by the cover here, that this riddle is about bats. So let's go over this riddle here. So bats sleep during the day, they fly at night, and that might be new information to you. They have no feathers. So like, you know how birds have feathers? Bats do not have feathers. That's new information for me. The answer is a bat. A bat is a mammal. I wonder what a mammal is. I wonder if I read on if I'll find out. Mammals are animals that nurse their young. They have hair. I didn't know that. So bats don't have feathers, they have hair and are warm-blooded. Humans, dogs, and whales are all mammals, but bats have a special ability. They can fly. So that's what's unique about this type of creatures called mammals, is they can fly. And so in this book, there are this special feature called bat words, and it helps us to learn and become experts on things that have to do with bats. So it says here in this bat word, a mammal is a warm-blooded animal that drinks its mother's milk. So that must mean the same as nurse their young. It has a backbone, and we also learned, like we read before, that a bat has hair, and you can see like the hair right here. So a backbone, boys and girls, if you reach back behind your back and kind of lean forward, that bone that goes all the way down, that's your backbone. And so bats have backbones just like you do. So here's my note in my second section here. We are going to read bat bodies. And I'm going to use the teacher strategy of pointing and labeling. So I'm not going to read this part here, but I'm going to show you the different parts of the bat, where this book has another cool feature called a diagram, where they've mapped out the parts of the bat here. So there's a label here. It says coat of fur, and it points to the bat's fur. So we again learn that bats have fur. A sensitive nose. I wonder what they mean by that. Big ears, sharp eyesight. That must mean good eyesight. They have a wing that it's pointing to. It says 4 fingers. So that's new information for me, that a bat has 4 fingers. And look at this here, that's cool. It has a thumb. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and read this page. Scientists call bats, and it helped me say this difficult word here, Chiroptera, a Greek name that means hand wing. That's because bats have 4 fingers, just like our diagram showed us, and a thumb, just like our diagram showed us, just like us. So bats have thumbs like us. A thin layer of skin connects the fingers. This forms a wing. Bats also have a sensitive nose. That's the part where I said, I wonder what they mean by that. And big ears. Their big ears help some bats see with sound. That sounds cool. I wonder how they see with sound. I don't see any information there, so I would maybe have to research that. This book also has some fun, let's see here, like jokes or riddles. This one says Q. Q stands for question. What did the bat say when its buddy asked, "What's up?" Do you know? I have to turn it upside down to find out. The ground. Get it? Because a bat is up and they look down on the ground. So I'm going to read one more section. I'm going to model to you how to use the table of contents. So I read about what's a bat and bat bodies. Now I'm going to read night flight on my table of contents. These feature the big parts in the book. And instead of going like this, I want to find out how to find night flight, and that's on page 10. So let's begin here. Some really cool pictures. Let me take some of my Post-its off here. So night flight, it says, did you know that while you're fast asleep, bats are busy filling their bellies? Bats are nocturnal. I wonder what nocturnal means. Oh, it says right here, it means they're active at night. So it must mean like they're awake at night. This way of life has many advantages for a bat. Insect-eating bats often feast on bugs that come out after dark. Pollen and nectar-eating bats might feed on plants that only open at night. Nectar is sweet liquid made by flowers. Do you remember those cool bat words here in this book? And so it says here bat words for this bat word, nocturnal. So we learned about it here. It said nocturnal means that they're active or awake at night. So this definition says the state of being active at night. Oh, and then it also explains nectar here, a sweet liquid made by flowers. This also tells me here what's going on in this picture, and it says thousands of wrinkle-lipped bats. Wow, that's a fun name. Leaving a cave at dusk. I also wanted to show you, I forgot to do this for mammal, but in the back of this book, there's another feature. That's one of the concepts of print, and that's a glossary here. And so any of those bat words, it also has more information about those words. So I don't see anything on this one. This one actually looks like, yeah, I think it's still a glossary. So a glossary gives you terms and definitions, where I see here mammal that we read about. And it says here, a mammal is a warm-blooded animal that nurses its young. We learned that gives it milk, and has a backbone, we learned, and hair. That was new learning for me. And then we also learned nocturnal. So I see another picture of night, and it says the state of being active at night. So we only read parts of this expository book on bats, and we learned new information or facts that described bats. So before we move on to our other book, our narrative book, I would like you to think, what was something new you learned about bats today? So I'd like you to think. I'd like you to pair up with your partner and share. Be ready to share. I'm going to be listening, and I'm going to use some popsicle sticks to call on some of you.